if we're out of the office. But I say this, like, here's one of the things I do that's an option in our work. And I think because I've been doing that so much, for me, it doesn't feel like it's something else. And there can definitely be a different energy involved as you're outdoors. Yep. Yes?
Do you have to do like extra insurance?
Oh.
Protective?
That's a great question. Well, what I do is I think it's a great idea. I run anything that is, okay, if I'm just on the trail for an hour, I don't have extra insurance. I'm usually right down the road from my office. If I do anything more intensive, like a half day, a day, a training, etc., I run it through outdoor leadership training seminars, which is an outdoor ed program, and I have a relationship with them. I've also run my therapeutic programs through Women's Wilderness Institute because I definitely want to be protected. Mm-hmm. So I have my psychotherapy insurance, and then I have my clients, like I just did a week-long trip with an individual client, and so I had her fill out the waivers and the paperwork for OLTS, outdoor leadership training seminars. And so we had that insurance, and then we also had the therapy insurance.
Kind of like contracting?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do. You can get insurance. It's the people that I know that have it, mostly it's about $2,000 a year if you're doing intensives. Is that how much yours is?
No, mine's $1,000.
Oh.
So you can find some that are much cheaper. You just have to do some research, and if you want to, my card's up there and I can tell you about it.
Okay. Do you go through WOGA or someone else?
No, WOGA is like $2,500 a year. I go through K&K Insurance.
Okay. It's okay. So talk to Lauren after if you want more info, and that's a great resource. Okay, so I'm gonna. So milieu. I think one example of that is the gardening piece, kind of incorporating that, or even being in an environment where the natural world is part of the milieu is significant. I want to do a little. I'm trying. What time is it here? Is this 5:30?
5:30.
5:30. Okay, I want to do a little experiential with you, and then we'll talk a little bit more, and then see if there are any questions before we end. So I want to have you find someone to partner up with for a little exercise, and first just sit next to them. So if you need to move or turn your chair, make sure everyone gets a partner.
We know each other. That's right. Can I partner with you?
Sure.
I'm your partner. Or here, okay, I'll be your partner.
Okay, we'll be partners. Sounds good. Okay.
I've already lost my way.
Oh, no. That's what happens when you.
Are you good? Oh, yes. Here, let's. Well, if we need to do a three, you want to come and join? Can we have a group of three? Is that cool? Why don't you come too? Figure it out.
Okay, anybody not have a partner? Okay. So I'm going to give you the instructions, and then there's going to be a little bit of process I will let you loose on with a little more direction. So to start with, I'm going to have you all individually take a moment, go inside, and just again, take a few breaths. Just feeling you here for a moment. And I'm going to have you connect in with something that has meaning in your life right now, and maybe even some kind of transition or some sort of question that you are holding in your life for yourself. And with this, coming up specifically with some sort of question that is open-ended, so that wouldn't be a yes or no answer, that is an open-ended process question that you would like to hold for yourself around this issue, transition, experience, etc. So what do I need to know to open more fully to what is good in my life, etc. And it can be simple. raise your hand if you need a little more time. Okay. So then, you're not going to share this question yet, but you're going to hold this question. As you're ready, you can open your eyes and just coming back into awareness of your partner here. And decide who's going to be A and who's going to be B. Okay, so B's, I'm going to have you stand up. And A's, you are going to, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. And B's are going to come over and choose one of these things here to bring back to your partner. And A's, keep your eyes closed if that's okay with you. It's always challenged by choice. And as your partner returns, they're going to give you something to just check out with your senses in any way that you feel comfortable with.
Can we open our eyes?
No, don't open your eyes. You're going to keep your eyes closed to begin with. Check it out with your other senses. Spending time really checking out the nuances of this. I can tell you guys are back. Feeling free to smell, or if you're really daring, taste it. You might try feeling it on different parts of your body, on your cheek or somewhere else. Just noticing what this is like, just to let yourself explore. And whenever you are ready, you can take your time. A, you can open your eyes and just begin to notice what it's like to have this visual relationship after exploring with your other senses. And as you check this out, without any sort of pressure here, or should, just notice, and you'll have a few minutes here, if there's anything that this, I like to call it natural being, as opposed to natural object, that this natural being has to tell you about your question, or has to reflect to you about your question. Just letting that come to you, not needing to think it from your cognitive brain. Have us pause to switch roles. What I'm going to have you do is hang on to this thing, because we're going to share after you both go. So you can just keep it near, keep holding on to it. And then, so B's, you're going to come into eyes closed. And A's are going to stand up and come find something over here to bring to your partner. And again, we'll do the first part of this without our visual sense, if you're comfortable with that. As you come back, you can hand this to your partner if you have not already, and begin exploring this with your different senses. Even noticing the impact or what it's like to be in relationship with this natural being with your senses. Noticing what you feel in your body as you are in contact with this one. And taking your time, and as you are ready, you can slowly bring in your visual sense. And again, just even noticing what that's like. Again, you can just see if there's anything this natural being has to tell you or share with you about your question. No pressure, just seeing if anything comes up all by itself. And then I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to share with each other anything that you would like to share about this experience. And some great things to think about are just even like, what did you notice? What drew your attention here? And then another question could be, what's the meaning of that to you, if anything? But and trusting yourself if there's something that you're drawn to share about this.
Like there was dirt, like fine. I mean, it's like I'm not even sure if it's there. But the first thing that occurred to me was my question was what's my need to be aware of as far as next steps related to my work. And the thought that came to my mind was need to get my hands dirty and really get it. And temperature like when I put it to my cheek, it's very clear. And there was this reminder that you're getting your hands dirty or really in it, it can get really heated. And just how just that quality of the hands just kind of slows down and goes over things about the hands. And the last piece was just noticing all the different colors, noticing the names and everything. Just had this sense of like as a sculptor would do, like there's something in there that I can find if I tend to chip away, pull out from the
So I was surprised I was imagining like a granite, dark granite color.
My question was also sort of around how to deal with shimmery and immediately
The question I had
thumb went right to
around
this.
the
I knew partly because it just fits me. Also energetically, which I didn't get until after. And I was just really noticing the way he's getting this. And then when I opened my eyes, the nature of the taking is it's so, what's the right word? Well, there's a certain complexity to it, and lots of sort of emotional to it, at all. And I felt that immediately with this particular and I immediately then knew that the way to deepen this process was to start in one corner, slowly sort of dig in. And I feel like I was shown by this and this that if I do that, I'll see the results of the process and I can trust it. And it works no matter how sort of multifaceted, idiosyncratic, and varied the process is. It's all just part of this larger core piece that I'm going to be
As soon as I like stood up, I saw it there.
It's funny, I felt totally called by that too. And
So to wrap up,
So I was asking you.
It wasn't for me. It was for I literally went with the first one. Trust him.
Just working in the field. Thanks.
I just got that sense.
That's just having
And we should all
knowing what that is, separate from
and then I just
I mean, you have no idea if I tell you my story. You have no idea.
so I've just been working with this. So that was one of the other one that
Finding a way to close.
It shows us to
Bigger group here.
we're going to see what we can
which months?
which almost right? But at the same time, it's poetic truth because we were running, so we had object sense on a very sort of superficial level about the physicality of
All right, so I would love to just open it up and hear maybe a few shares if anybody wants to say anything about what this was like or what struck you. See some smiles. Anything anyone wants to share about your experience?
Just the synchronicity of the shape. It's a rock that looks like a heart, and it didn't really matter which way I turned it. There's a heart on several different angles, and it fit exactly with my question and what I asked. And, yeah, and it definitely had an energy. I mean, just it's kind of similar to what you did in the beginning of class after we did the first guided piece. You feel the energy shift, but then the rock had an energy that was very present, and yeah.
Wow, so you had many pieces of the experience that were impactful. I saw you holding it up to your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
I love this exercise, and it's just the feeling, the object, and it's smooth, but it was rough as well. And it's got 6 sides, which for me is about potential. And when I held it up, it's clear, but it's got so many different facets of it, and it's kind of murky, but it's also intricate and intriguing. And when he held his object here, and I held this here, I'm like, oh my gosh, like how much you could feel the warmth of the object, and just how everything is so perfect in our worlds, and the two of us working on this together was like phenomenal.
Wow.
Felt grateful.
Thank you. Yes.
Whoa, isn't it gorgeous? You're all jealous of my, oh my God. So this beautiful stone became like I was able to witness myself, and not be attached, and not have some kind of attachment or present. So it was very freeing. Yeah, it took that from me. Yeah.
As you say that, I think it's similar. Some experiences are similar to art therapy. It's like something outside of us that we can see ourselves more clearly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you.
So I want to share, this is one of my all-time favorite interventions. And if you think about working out in the outside, right, in the natural world, the whole landscape can become your natural being, find what you're drawn to, and what does that have to tell you about your life, or how does that mirror what's happening in your life, and so much can come from that. And I love doing this exercise inside, because I have had the most profound experiences with people doing this in my office, in going in 5 minutes, oh, I just got the answer to my questions, I need to move across the state and go to this school. And I was like, how did the rock do that? But I have many times had people, twice move across the country after doing this exercise. One was outside and one was inside. And I love doing this here with you, really as an offering and an encouragement of this is something that you can do even if you're working with people in the office, to really have the connection with the natural world there. Bring that in, and this is something that's really simple. And you could use this all, for a whole session or ongoingly. I had a client just look outside my window and go, oh my gosh, she was having a lot of self-esteem stuff and comparing herself to others, and was like, so is that true? Which tree's better? That one or that one? And she's like, better one. well, why not? They're different. Well, they're both beautiful. It's like, huh. Yeah. And she brings this in. It's been 2 years. She's like, and that tree, and now I remember. And so it can be also a touchstone and a memory, or sometimes I'll take a photo, have people take a photo of something if we're outside to help them remember this awareness or impact. So I am aware we have like 10 minutes, and I want to talk for like 3 more hours, but I won't. So I'm going to share, let's see, I'm going to share, for those of you who like research, a few things. And I'm going to just go over this pretty quickly. So I think most, if not all of this, comes from the Bazell and Chalquist book and on ecotherapy, and essentially they summarized the research. And so I don't know exactly which studies these all come from, but here are some of the research findings. Spending time with nature increased self-esteem, promoted positive change in behavior, increased interpersonal skills, decreased heart rate, decreased blood pressure, reinforced a sense of community. I feel like in my experience, when I'm outside and even in the people I'm with, I see a fundamental change in the body-mind state that often people, like I said, have access to other parts of themselves, are more open, are more relaxed, that something on a physiological level happens for people. Nature has restorative effects. It offers a sense of balance and relief from daily stress, a sense of belonging, and in particular with the natural world. Connecting with nature has been found to be as effective as taking antidepressants on a long-term basis. There's a study, and I can't tell you what it is, but that talks about that studies our free flow of attention as opposed to focusing on computers or video games, and the way that impacts our everything, actually learning, nervous system regulation, a few other things. And one of the kind of theories I've heard is that wilderness allows us to have that free flow of attention. So, okay, when nature is brought inside, research shows increase work productivity, lift moods, raise interest level of learning and task performance, stimulates creative problem solving, deepens relaxation, decreased depression, decreased relational conflicts, decreased physical complaints. There's one researcher, Diane Connolly, on there. And if you do want more info, check out this book, and I'll say a few more things about research. In hospital or healthcare settings, this says 2009, but I know this happened earlier. This is something that's been quoted for a while in the wilderness therapy settings, that there's increased vitality, increased emotional balance, shorter recovery period with less pain and medication. And they did research where somebody had a window looking out onto nature versus looking out onto a building, or no window, and then studies where there was a photo of nature. And so my dentist has photos of nature on the ceiling when you lean back. And I've noticed it's become much more common in healthcare settings that they have pictures of nature, that the recovery period is quicker. So those are some of those. I also want to mention, if you love research stuff, there is a lot of research being done these days out of the University of New Hampshire with Anita Tucker and Michael Gass. And then also a colleague of mine, Christine Norton in Texas, has been doing a bunch of research. Keith Russell's a big researcher. All these are outward bound folks, gone therapists, gone researchers. So they're super passionate about really proving this and getting insurance to cover it. And so it's really, like I said, it's exploding. There's also, I want to tell you about, what do I want to tell you about in these final minutes? I do want to mention the piece about looking at that this isn't necessarily always feel supportive for everyone. And I guess what are some of the reasons or experiences that you may think of that why this would not be helpful for someone?
Associated with a traumatic
Yeah.
trauma in the natural
Attacked by
world.
the elk in Estes.
Attacked by the elk, right, so there's trauma in the natural world.
Natural disaster.
Natural
survivor.
disaster happened.
There's somebody that just hasn't spent any time outside, and so there's just a lot of fear of the unknown.
Exactly, a lot of fear
City
because it's
people.
unfamiliar. I had some folks one time from St. Louis that I had out, and they said, I don't want to go on a night hike, and I said, and they had a lot of fear, and I said, well, why not? And they said, because I don't know what's going to jump out at me. And I said, well, I've spent a lot of time here, I've never had anything that's been dangerous that I've seen here. And I said, you live in the city, you live in a really dangerous part of the city. And they said, yeah, but I know how to deal with what jumps out at me there. I don't know what to do here, right? It was such a perspective. I was like, oh, right, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so really there are reasons. And so to, just hold that as a possibility also in working with folks. I also had a client who was very connected to the natural world, grew up in Colorado, and she went out one day to pray on a hike and was assaulted on the trail, and so had then years of when she would see dirt, basically, or grass, she would start having flashbacks, and she had prior trauma as well. But and her goal was, I want my resource back. I want this resource back. And so it took a few years, actually. We did kind of a systematic desensitization of sitting in her car near a park, and was able to work back toward that as a resource. But it was pretty tragic, really. So let's see. I think last thing is, we didn't leave much time for questions here. So next steps here, next steps. So if you are interested in more information, I have brought some books. There's lots of books. There are, there's research out on the web. There are several professional organizations if you want to get involved. The Association for Experiential Education, whose international headquarters are in Boulder, Colorado, on IRIS. They work with, basically, are practitioners who work outdoors. There's a whole group within the context of that. Therapeutic Adventure Professional Groups, TAPG, which even though it's adventure, it's the wilderness and adventure therapists. It's all the people that are doing the research, writing the books are a part of that. And if you are excited about this, a couple amazing opportunities, Jess over here is involved in this, is for the first time ever. So there's an international adventure therapy conference that happens every 3 years in a different continent and a different country. And it's been going on for 21 years, so this is the 7th annual, or 7th every 3 years, 7th one. This coming year, it's the first time it's ever been in the U.S. ever, because they've wanted to be really culturally open and not be U.S.-centric, which has been fabulous. So first time ever, it's in Denver, Colorado. We're on the planning committee. Yes, it's the first weekend of June. So put that in your calendars if you're interested. And with that, TAPG, the one I just mentioned, Therapeutic Adventure Professional Group, they every 3 years do a best practices conference, and they do pre-conferences every year at the AEE conference. And they're aligning their every 3-year conference with this international conference, also in Denver in June. So it's a great place to get involved here.
So are they back to back or at the same time, or how?
The TAPG is a pre-conference, so there's going to be 3 approximately different options. If you want to do a pre-conference, that will be one of them. And then I think the actual conference is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Does that sound right? Yeah. And so TAPG, I think, is Tuesday, Wednesday. So let's see, what else? Get more training. So there's lots of different training out there depending on what you're wanting. I do lots of mentorship and coaching and do trainings for people, but really my passion is supporting you in doing what is yours to do and finding the right resources. So, I'll say, what do you need? Do you want backpacking skills? You can go to this organization and get backpacking skills. Do you want books to read? Here's books to read, because everyone kind of has different wants or intentions in how they want to learn or what they want to incorporate into their work. Yeah, if you, and like I said, if you want to be on my mailing list, I will let you know any trainings that I'm doing. If you want resources, I can send you, I have this, I already told you, this 9-page document, so I didn't copy it for all of you, of all sorts of readings, articles, books, references, and another resource list that has some websites of different trainings, organizations, the professional groups if you're interested. So if you want that, put your name in a little check, or if you're interested in a networking group. And then there are several people in the room here that do wilderness-based work. And Chris here, she has a flyer on the table. Do you want me to say all the things you're doing?
Sure.
Or just, she does shamanic work and therapy work. She's a therapist, nature-based and in-office therapy. And she's starting a 4-week group starting January 17th on exploring your spiritual relationship with nature.
So if you like this last exercise, it will be that for 4 Saturdays. But not just that, but gives you an idea.
Yeah, and Lauren does nature-based coaching and canoe trips, and her card is up here as well. Victoria back there, she's a wilderness therapist. Kelly's doing some nature-based work in her practice. Jen does nature-based work, and Jess is doing her internship and is also in the wilderness therapy program. There might be others of you, but those are the ones that I know that I've worked with. So this is the best community for a resource in this area. And definitely feel free to be in touch if you have any questions or want some more resources. And I think we're at the end. So I didn't leave time for questions, but if you have any, I'm happy to stick around a little bit if you would like to come talk to me. Thank you.
Here's my card for my.
Yeah.